Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a fascinating and honestly pretty critical link between your brain and an organ you probably don't think about nearly enough, your liver. Just think about that for a second. What if your mental sharpness, that feeling of being on top of your game, was directly tied to the health of your liver? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore, this surprising connection and how one can so dramatically affect the other. Now, to really wrap our heads around this connection, we first need to understand that there's a massive and often completely hidden health issue that's setting the stage for this entire story. Take a look at this. This is a liver with cirrhosis. This kind of scarring develops quietly over many, many years. And the scary part is, by the time symptoms and complications finally show up, the outlook for a patient can change in a heartbeat. And this problem is just huge. It's estimated that a staggering 1 in 4 people across the globe are affected by what's called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It is the #1 chronic liver condition, and it's what often leads to much more severe problems down the road. So how in the world does a struggling liver manage to affect the brain? Well, the answer comes down to a specific toxin, one that a healthy liver is supposed to take out of your system like trash. The condition has a name, hepatic encephalopathy, or HE for short. It's what happens when the liver gets so sick it can't do its main job of detoxification anymore. And the #1 villain in this story is ammonia, a neurotoxin that's a normal waste product from digesting protein. So here's how it plays out. First, the liver isn't cleaning the blood properly. Second, ammonia levels start to rise throughout your body. And third, that ammonia travels up to the brain and it gets past the blood-brain barrier. Once it's in, it just starts causing trouble, messing with neurotransmitters and even making some brain cells swell up. The result of all this is what we call brain fog, that awful feeling of confusion, being unable to focus, and just thinking slower. Now, this is where things get really interesting. It's one thing for a patient to just feel foggy. It's another thing entirely for scientists to be able to precisely measure it, and even better, to track how well a treatment is working against it, right? It's a great question. You feel slow, you feel confused, but how do you put a number on that? How do you prove, in a study, that a treatment is actually making things better? Well, the answer is a really clever and pretty classic test. This is it. It's called the Stroop test, a fundamental tool in neuropsychology that's now been turned into a simple app. It's built to measure things like cognitive flexibility and how fast you process things, exactly the abilities that get hit hard by hepatic encephalopathy. Okay, here's the challenge. The app shows you the word green, but it's printed in red ink. Your job is to ignore what you read and instead say the color of the ink aloud. So you'd have to say red. It sounds simple, but it's tough. It forces you to suppress a totally automatic response. And that specific skill, called inhibitory control, is one of the main things that gets weaker when you have even mild HE. And when you put a treatment to the test, the results are crystal clear. In a study with 65 patients, giving them a drug called LOLA led to a very real, statistically significant drop in their blood ammonia. You can see it right here on the chart. The average level went from over 123 down to about 113. It's a direct link. The treatment reduces the toxin. Okay, so we know the drug works. But how does it work? What's this solution, LOLA, actually doing to get that ammonia out of the body? Turns out it has a really smart two-pronged attack. The full name is L-ornithine L-spartate, or LOLA, and it's made of 2 key amino acids. The first one is L-ornithine. You can think of this as fuel for the liver's main cleanup crew, the urea cycle. This is the body's primary way of turning toxic ammonia into harmless urea, so you can get rid of it. The second part is L-aspartate. This one helps out with the backup cleanup crew. It supports a different detox pathway that happens outside the liver, mainly in your muscles and even inside brain tissue itself. So, this is why it's so darned effective. It's got this dual action mechanism. It's unique because it tackles ammonia detox in 2 places at once. It speeds up the main process in the liver while also giving a boost to the secondary process in the muscles. It's that 1-2 punch that really makes a difference.
And you can see the results in patients remarkably fast. Dr. Anton Gillison points out that when patients get it through an IV, they brighten up shortly after infusion. I mean, that's just a perfect description, isn't it? It really shows you that direct, observable link between lowering ammonia and improving how a person thinks and feels.
But the story doesn't actually end with just clearing out ammonia. As researchers dug deeper, they started to realize that Lola has a bunch of other really cool protective effects on the liver.
Yeah, the bioproducts that Lola creates are also really powerful. They help your body make L-glutamine, which fights inflammation. They also help produce glutathione, which is basically the body's master antioxidant, fighting off all sorts of cell damage. And they help form L-arginine, which improves blood flow inside the liver. So it's not just cleaning up a mess, it's helping the organ protect itself.
And this list just makes it so clear how central the liver is to, well, everything. A struggling liver isn't just a brain problem. Look at this. It's connected to syndromes involving the kidneys, the lungs, the heart, our hormones, even our bones. The liver is truly a master regulator of the entire body's health. So I think the big takeaway is this. Understanding the health of this one, often overlooked organ can unlock some major secrets to the health of our entire body. The liver-brain connection is such a powerful example of this. And it just makes you wonder, what other incredible connections are we just beginning to discover?